Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on this smashing Sunday for what is going to be nothing short of an interesting and thought-provoking video as it relates to the cryptocurrency space and the current change the world from a financial point of view and also perhaps a social point of view, because distributed ledgers do cross into that arena, are about to undertake. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to be going all the way back to an interview that Elon Musk gave 3 years ago. And I believe this was around about the time when Tesla originally bought Bitcoin. Now, of course, they bought it at a really bad time, or with hindsight, it wasn't such a bad time, but they bought it as it was going down and they had to sell half of it. They still hold half of it that they're very much in the profits on now. But I want to explore this because with a Trump victory, the cryptocurrency space has been doing very well, and certainly cryptocurrencies that have their kind of tentacles within the United States. Trump has said a number of things in regards to capital gains tax and potentially looking to implement zero capital gains tax made on profits for investing in United States crypto-based companies. He's also said things like he wants to make America the home of this technology, and it extends far beyond Bitcoin. And of course, he's enabled agencies such as DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, who has been headed up by Elon Musk. So Elon Musk at this stage is probably one of the most important people in the United States, but more globally the world. I think he was that to a degree before all of this, and is now just more so obviously through companies like Tesla and SpaceX. Remember, we've got that Tesla Long that's doing very well. But he said something 3 years ago. He understands money to a higher degree. And I also think he understands the fact that Bitcoin isn't the technology that's actually going to solve money. And if you understand Bitcoin, which is why I think maxis as a whole are largely wrong on many things, but they built careers off of being that. So that's their kind of identity. Of course, they're gonna back it. If you understand Bitcoin, you know it's not going to be a currency, even though in Satoshi's white paper, it was designed to be essentially an internet money, an internet currency, a digital currency, a peer-to-peer digital currency. It was also designed to do 2 transactions per second. And I can't help but feel like maybe this was deliberately designed to be lame. We've got a lot of theories on Bitcoin. And perhaps the Trojan horse-esque nature of it in regards to herding us towards a global system, which is on the cards now. And the first clip that we're going to play is Elon Musk actually talking about money from 3 years ago, and talking about the use of a distributed ledger, and also highlighting that actually Bitcoin, for me, Bitcoin is a great alternative store of value in a world where money as we know it continues to get proliferated to the degree that it is. Really, everything is kind of becoming a store of value. The stock market's real USP at the moment, unique selling point, is that it goes up against money. Markets have essentially just become a short currency trade, and Bitcoin is it was invented to do that specifically. So it's really an investment for me, Bitcoin, more so than a practical or usable currency, even with the likes of Lightning, where, I mean, and it's amazing these sort of maxis obviously didn't read the white paper where Satoshi said you don't involve any third party in this, and then you add things like Lightning, even though it claims to be decentralized. But maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. But what Elon Musk highlights is the fact that this technology is going to be used to transform money. That Bitcoin perhaps isn't it, and then we're going to be playing a second clip where he talks about a global decentralized financial system that's ran on a blockchain, and he mentions a hash blockchain, which is not typically how blockchains connect to one another. That's more something like Hedera, that obviously how they link those blocks together instead of being in a chain is through these hashes, that hence hash graph, the word hash graph. So there's some interesting things here. We're not saying it's going to be Hedera, but we're saying, it's interesting that he mentions this kind of hash ledger, which is very different from a block on a chain. And then you've got, all these kind of ecosystems with layer 2s and things that have came on top. But this is important, guys. And I've been rambling on now for a while. I do apologize for not doing a daily market update, but what I want to do is just dive into this first clip. And then we're going to look at the second clip, and we're going to conclude this video, because something monumental is coming, and there's an amazing opportunity, in my opinion, to make a hell of a lot of money on the back end of all of this. So without further ado, let's dive into this clip.
I've been thinking about money for a long time. And really, it's best to think of money as an information system. primarily an information system for labor allocation. Um, and for practical purposes, it exists in a series of heterogeneous databases, like very different databases in bank mainframes around the world. It moves quite slowly in reality. It may seem to move fast sometimes, and it does with PayPal, which is real time. But the vast majority of the systems out there are batch processing. So the actual reconciliation may take 1 to 5 business days, sometimes longer. And you have the ACH system, which is ancient and still in operation, which is allows transfers effectively like a check would be an ACH transfer, but it's not secure. And you've got the credit card systems, which are also not secure. It would be like handing your username and password to a stranger in a restaurant if you buy a meal. So there's definitely an opportunity for something that is better from an information theory standpoint. So and there you can think of it like data on a network, I think, is the way to view it. What has the most throughput? What has the least error? What drops the fewest packets? Fraud, for example, being a source of error. And government interference in currencies being a source of error. But it's fundamentally an information system. So I think it makes sense to support something that improves the quality of information with which we conduct the economy. And Bitcoin is a candidate for that. It does, I think, some things well, and it's obviously it's evolving, and there are additional things like Lightning being done on top of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin per se is mostly solving for scarcity, or rather solving for essentially having no throat to choke, decentralized. So there's no one who can be coerced in any way to empty their Bitcoin account. Well, I guess they could technically, but on an individual basis, but the system as a whole cannot. And it has an open ledger, which is also quite good. But transaction volume is low. Transaction cost is high, and usability for the average person is not yet very good. But it has a lot of potential. And I should say that, like, I'm not, and I apologize for taking a long time, but there certainly is a lot to say. In general, I'm a supporter of Bitcoin and the idea of cryptocurrency in general. But as I've said publicly, we do need to watch out for crypto taking, especially Bitcoin, using proof of work to maybe use energy that's maybe a bit too much and not necessarily good for the environment. So, but on balance, I support Bitcoin.
So what we have there is Elon Musk talking about how cryptocurrencies or distributed ledgers can actually fully change the financial system and eliminate errors that, and we know this, fraud and things like this are really only possible on the current system. You can't really fraud a distributed ledger. And actually we extend this to the protocols that run the internet, etc., etc. We can get very, very deep with all these as a subject matter. But he admits openly and will likely now explore the use of cryptocurrencies in this new monetary world, the internet, I call it, being this idea of information, of value. And he also hints at the fact that Bitcoin is not it. Bitcoin is not, in my opinion, going to be used as a form of money. I always see this, I was at a conference, it was a really good conference actually, but I see people using Bitcoin to pay for things. And I'm just like, surely the whole ethos is that you don't spend it, you know? You kind of hold it and you spend your worthless fiat. I mean, that seems like a far better thing to do in my opinion. But what I want to do now is jump into the second clip that I have for you of him talking about hash ledger. I don't know if there's any ramifications there for HBAR, but there might be. It's certainly one of the few. There are a couple out there that use hashes, but Lehman's largely the pioneer of all of this to facilitate a distributed ledger. It's really nice to see loads of people, as somebody that's in a kind of central position when it comes to making Hedera content. It's really nice to see a lot of people coming on board and starting to get interested in this technology. It fills me with joy because it fundamentally is going to change the world in many ways. But let us now dive into this second clip and then we'll conclude the video. And the reason that I'm making this video is because I want you guys to pay attention to what's going on right now. And the transformation that's happening with money itself, with the internet, with social systems, you know, with ID systems, with a lot of things, and I don't think it's all good. As somebody that's a massive advocate for this technology for many obvious reasons, I also think there's negatives to it, just like the internet. Is it a good thing that people are so addicted to it and spend their whole lives on it? And Yuval Harari in his Homo Deus did a great, I'll have to read that as a video on its own out loud, a great summary of why people are so addicted to social media and things like this, because it's all about being part of something bigger than they are, in a kind of world where God, in some cases, is becoming somewhat absent, which is not a personal approach I take. But let's play this second clip before, I don't know where the hell we're going with that, and then we'll conclude the video.
Latency. And if somebody else doesn't do it, Starlink certainly will. So I have high confidence that you will be able to maintain a decentralized finance system while still having a much bigger blockchain, aka ASCII text ledger, a hash ledger. You can make the hash ledger bigger without suffering from decentralization as the average connectivity improves, obviously.
He talks there about a decentralized financial system. That is coming. Bitcoin is going to be a part of that. There's going to be, people have got this idea of one currency to rule them all. I think it's going to be a kind of collage of many. And I think something like XRP, XLM, we're going to do a really interesting conspiratorial video on XLM. Hedera, something like Algo, ADA perhaps. There's multiple cryptocurrencies that are going to play a role in this world that we're moving towards. And what's the value of these blockchains, these distributed ledgers, if they do actually enable this global decentralized financial system? Multiple trillions, in my opinion, just like we see some of the largest companies to come out of the internet be of that ilk. Certainly if we see the proliferation of currency, a trillion isn't really what a trillion was. I know that sounds really idiotic, but it's just like, when I was a kid, a £20 note was a big deal. What's £20 getting you now? A Nando's for one, if you're lucky. Anyway, that's it from me. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. See you all in the next one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think, or what cryptos you guys think are going to play a role in this new financial system. But as Elon Musk is now one of the most powerful people in the world, and that's been extended due to his role in the Trump regime, this is likely all going to come to fruition. And it's time you pay attention. That's it from me. See you all soon.